Hey, what is up, everybody? And welcome back to the CornbreadReturns YouTube channel. Thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate you guys coming out. It means a lot to me. This is the How to Objects in Space tutorial series. Woohoo! We are pretty deep into this now. We've covered a lot of the basics, bounties, contracts, navigation and flying. We've done jumping. We've done all this kind of stuff. And as I said in, I believe, the first thing, or was it during my actual Let's Try, this is a deep game. This is a very deep game, and part of that deep depth is your ship. Your ship is kind of the lifeblood of everything you do, whether it's bounties, or you're doing cargo contracts, or you're taking passengers to and fro. Whatever you do, it all starts with your ship. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be covering two things. We're going to be covering how to add more modules to your ship and upgrade your ship by getting more shit, like modules and whatnot. And the second thing we're going to be talking about is how to upgrade the individual modules themselves with parts and all that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be very similar to repair, and there is going to be a video on repairing, specifically repairing. Eventually, if it's not up already, it will be coming. As soon as I get into a situation where I need to do some repairs, I can kind of demonstrate that situation. But either way, there's a lot of overlap there. But today, we're specifically talking about upgrading different modules on your ship. So it all starts with your ship. Inside your ship, you have your main screen here, which is kind of where we do our navigation, and we do our docking, and we do all this kind of stuff. And right now, we are docked. You are going to want to be docked if you want to upgrade your ship. If you want to repair your ship, if you want to do anything like that, you want to do that. Coming to this screen and clicking on our module status, it says module status up there. This is where we can do all of this. And this is essentially a little depiction of our ship, right? This is the front of our ship, and this is the back. There's your engine and your jump drive. Now, when you start your game, you're not going to have a jump drive. Most likely, you might get a ship that has a shitty-ass a broken jump drive if you're lucky at the beginning of the game, but usually this is something you actually have to buy. But anyway, these are all module slots. You can see I have empty ones here, I have an empty one here. If I wanted to keep all my batteries up here, I could push this back, move this one around, right? When you're when you're docked to a station, we have space station cranes that are available to move modules around, right? So you can't just do this in space, but when you have this, you can easily do that. And you know what? I've been actually considering doing this for quite some time. Let's go ahead and move that back. I think that's best. Keep all of our nice critical components in one spot. Anyway, this is where we want to look at all of our modules. Now, you'll see on this vessel, when you first start the game, you probably the only thing you'll have over here is an RCS. You kind of ignore anything over here. You won't have anything. You'll have an RCS here. These will be empty. These will all be empty, and that's pretty much will be your ship. Once again, you can get lucky and find a vessel at the start of the story or the sandbox that has a grappling hook that maybe needs to be repaired or something like that. But no matter what, it's usually empty. And so these are all of your module slots. You'll have 3 batteries on your ship most likely. If you go with the freighter class that I did, I went with the freighter class. You'll have your, your nav comm up there. You'll have all this stuff, your sensors, your helm, your comms, kind of the lifeblood. You'll have a main reactor unit, and you'll have an engine. You won't have a jump drive. You most likely won't have a grapple hook, and you definitely won't have a weapon system, right? So it's kind of the base thing. But this is where you can get. This is where your modules go. If you buy new ones, this is where they will be. And when you buy new ones, and I'll show you that in a second, this is where they'll show up. And then you have the opportunity while you're docked to move them around for free. So anyway, just to show you how that works, you just literally click them, you drag them to an empty slot, and boom. I like to keep my weapons at the front of my ship, just so if this gets blown off, then so be it. You know, we're dead in the water anyway, but I don't want to lose my weapon system if one of these gets blown off. But I also like to keep my things a little separated. So that's that. Now, okay, Cornbread, how do I buy more modules? Good question. Let's go out into this station that we're at. We are at Cassini terraforming station. And we want to go over here to the mechanics. The mechanics, this is where you buy additional cargo pods for your vessel. If you have a vessel with cargo pods, now I believe they all have them no matter what, but it's just some have more and some have less. Mine's a freighter class, right? So I got a lot of cargo pods. I don't have all of them purchased, but it's not a big deal. But here is, you can buy armaments, you can do all that kind of stuff, but it's also where you buy modules. And if we go here, this is all module types, right? Brand new, damage, blah, blah, blah. But really what we want to do is go one by one, right? Generators, excellent, right? Basically, no free major slot for this module, right? They take a major slot. I think it generates just more additional power for all your components. Batteries, yep, we're very familiar with this. I could buy a new battery. I could slot it in to one of those slots. Actually, this one I think is about double the capacity of my current any of my current batteries. This EB30, right? Batteries, great. All this kind of stuff. Navigation computer, upgraded sensors, countermeasures, which are like exactly how you think of them on submarines, guys. You launch them out. Hopefully, the torpedo goes for the countermeasure. Helm computers, if yours gets broken or damaged, or you want to upgrade. Weapon systems, as you saw mine. This is a beastly weapon system. This is a 6 torpedo tube weapon system. Spins up in very quickly. This is very nice. Actually, I might consider buying this. Now that I'm looking at it, I really like that. And then I might be able to have more weapons, in different spots on my ship. No matter what, either way, just fine. So, yeah. Where was I? Yes. We're just kind of going through them. RCS systems. That's kind of what we, float around with it and how we move our spacecraft. Jump drives. That's obvious, right? Helps us jump from thing to thing. And there is a tutorial thing on jumping if you guys want to check that out. And then your main drive, right, which is the thing that actually propels you forward. Point defense systems actually shoot torpedoes out of the air, like with little lasers. So it's another way to do it. E-Solar, I think this is some kind of solar wing, some kind of a generator, like it generates electricity, I think, under certain circumstances. Maybe it's like stealthier, like where you could shut your generator off and just do solar. I think something like that. I've never actually used one, I will admit. A comm system, a better comm system. Hacking, so you can, if you're doing some pirating and you want to hack people, you can hack in and see what they're carrying to decide if they're worth it or not. And then here are the grappling arms, which I already have. So there are all your modules, and they will slot into different module slots. But that's pretty much that. Those are all the different modules you can buy. So let's just say you have these modules now and you're really happy, but man, you want your battery to hold more, or you want, let's just see, man, I just hate my battery capacity, right? I'm going to my battery, I'm like looking at this, it's like, oh man, my capacity is only 4.8 kilowatts. Like, that's nothing, man. Like, we just saw a battery in there, right? This is a Sukarano GG10, right? Good game 10. This thing emits this. It's 116% efficient. That's mainly because I've replaced some of these hap nodes. But that's beside the point. Let's just say, man, I'm really pissed. I really don't like the fact that this is just performing the way it is. Then we can upgrade it. And let me show you what we mean by upgrade it. See all these parts right here on the side? These are all the parts I have in storage because it's one of my things. I like to carry spare parts around, right? If I get into a shootout with somebody out in the wild and they damage me with a torpedo and I get some damaged parts, or one of my really shitty old components breaks in the thing, and one of my batteries dies, I'm really in bad shape. Let's say that happens to my generator or a more critical component than a battery, then you're really in trouble. So I like to have spare parts, but also beyond spare parts, they can actually be used to upgrade this machine by going ahead, just like during repairs. We got to disconnect it so it turns it off. We got to do the screws, and this is actually one of the parts that the game actually does explain to you very, very well. At the beginning, you get damaged, so you have to do a little quicker repair. So if you do the story, you will get a short tutorial. I say it's quote unquote tutorial, guys, because it really doesn't tell you shit. It just tells you basically how to repair. Excuse me. So, right. Now we are looking at the guts, the components of this system, right? Let's just say, like I said, excuse me, let's start over again. We are looking at the components. Everything you see here, this is filled, now it's empty, right? These are all components that I can do. If I take this component out, you can see my battery is no longer operational. It literally requires these 4 hap nodes and these to be actually in there, these row aughts, to be in there fully connected to operate. I can go ahead and slide them in, slide them out. Pretty much sure it's the same part either way, right? And then you can see this battery is operational. But what are these? Interesting. These are empty component slots. Empty component slots. What would those possibly be for? Well, that is how we upgrade our components. And we can see right down here, we have emissions, we have efficiency on our battery, and we have all this kind of stuff. And we can actually see our theoretical capacity and all that good stuff too by, excuse me if I just go out of this for a second, go over here and just look at our battery, right? Theoretically, it should be 30 kilowatts is what's theoretical for that thing. And like we will go to one of our functional batteries, man, why is this 35 even though our theoretical capacity is that? Well, the reason for that is because the internal components in this battery allow it to operate at 116% of its efficiency. Therefore, if it is, say, a 30 kilowatt storage average, right? Doing a little math here, right? Let's just say it holds 30 times 1.16, that's 34.8. So if I go ahead, this one theoretically should hold 34.8, right? Go ahead and connect it up. We'll close it up. That's our third battery. Go over here. We can see it now. It's charging. And there we go, right? Actual is 34.8. Exactly 116% of the normal capacity of the battery, right? So let's just say for a second, we really wanted to upgrade the capacity of this battery. But batteries are so expensive, right? It's like, I got to drop $3,000 to get another battery. It's like, my God, I already have 3 batteries, right? Can I just get more juice out of my current batteries? The answer to that is yes. Indeed, you can. And this is how. We are going to go buy a few new parts to slot into those areas to upgrade our battery. This has actually been something I've been meaning to do for a while, so I'm really happy. I'm doing this tutorial series because this is really convenient because I wanted to do this anyway. Buying really nice. So this is another thing too. When we're buying parts have different stats, right? And the more expensive are, the better the stats, right? So in this case, sometimes there's trade-offs, but sometimes not. All of these cluster M's is the part. All of them, pretty much, except these guys, have a 4% emissions. Now, these guys are pretty tough, but the problem is, and their strength is great, but they don't increase the efficiency as much. See, these are higher emitting, but they increase the efficiency, and they're stronger, right? But you know what? Because the emissions, these are so efficient, I like these a lot. I like how efficient these are versus, the emissions and the efficiency and the power drain and all that stuff. This gets a little bit of power drain, so, go ahead and combo them a little bit. And it's very strong, so the failure rate will be low, right? This, not so much. This is one of the shittier. The yellow are the worst parts, in my experience. So anyway, let's get a couple of those. Let's go. We only have one of those. Let's go ahead and buy another one. I really like these. Solid parts. We got a lot of dough, guys. We're in good shape. Always like to have spare parts around anyway. Let's go ahead and buy a couple of these. And this is for some other upgrades that we'll do. And then this is really what we want. These T connectors. And these are by far the most efficient. The lowest emissions, right? So they're really super strong. And they have the lowest emissions. And emissions are like, the pollutants that our ship puts out. And the lower the emissions, the more stealthy, we are to other ships. We'll save that for another time. But anyway, we just got 2 new of those. So let's now take our parts, go back to our ship, and put them in and see what it does to our battery. So go in here, go ahead, disconnect that battery, open her up. So now we see right here, we've got a 2.5 emissions and 116% efficiency. Go ahead and open her up. Very nice. Let's go ahead and pop in some new parts. Now, each of these, you can't just put this in and expect it to work. You have to complete that circuit with both of those components. Now, did you see what just happened? I actually increased the emissions a little bit. That increased the emissions of this unit. And that kind of sucks a little bit. But at the same time, we're going to do other upgrades that can decrease our emissions, right? So this one right now, this is +4 efficiency, +4 power, but +6 emissions. If I go ahead and take that thing out, obviously it stops functioning. But compared to this, I can go for something like maybe this and get a lower emission rating. And even though it's now 127% and this is 126, so I actually made another increase in that just by completing this component over here. And now we are operating at an additional 11% on this battery. But let's say, okay, that's not enough. Go ahead and slide another one in. Go ahead and slide another one of those in, and all of a sudden, guys, we are up to 137% efficiency. So we have just increased the capacity of this thing significantly. Now, granted, it does emit a little more from the thing, but probably not as much as adding an entire new battery, right? That would really increase our emissions probably by another 2.5, right? So upgrading is a really efficient way to get more capacity out of our batteries. So, granted, these are $70 a pop, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying a new battery. So, by doing that, go ahead and screw that guy in there. Remember, the baseline capacity of this thing is 30. 30, right? Let's go check it out now. Look at that thing charge up. We now have upgraded this thing a full 25%. We are now operating at over 25% efficiency over the baseline value, right? We have literally upgraded that by 25%. So that is fantastic. We have now more battery power, which means right here, which means we can do more shit before our we have to shut down or do all this kind of stuff because we can't go off of our generator alone, right? We have more battery capacity stored up to do maneuvers and all this kind of stuff, and that is how we upgrade components. Now those are just some of the components, right? I showed you these little T guys, this stuff like that. There are other components, right? For example, let's go ahead and close this. Let's go ahead and open up a reactor. It's not connected anyway. When you're docked, the reactor's not connected. Go ahead and unscrew this. Beautiful. How about this short buffer? Now, I believe the short buffer will actually prevent your core from taking damage in say, some kind of an event, right? And that's why they're really super expensive, but they're not as expensive as a brand new reactor core, right? You can see it's reactor core. It's the lifeblood of our ship. Super, super, super duper expensive. And so a short buffer will, get in the way between some kind of a cataclysmic event and frying your actual generator, right? So that's another different piece. And there's short buffers on almost every component you can buy. It's just how much do you want to spend to protect some of your stuff, right? Now, before, when I first bought this was not here. I put in another thing of this so I could increase efficiency, so I could generate a lot more output. I'll show you. Go ahead and take this off, and take this off. And now you can see, I don't know what just happened. It did not update in real time for some reason. 176. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It went from 188 to that. Right. So you can see, I've actually upgraded that as well. Now, if I put in this, let's go ahead and fill this out like that. And let's go ahead and put that back in there. And bam, we're at 189 now and 5.67. Right, so you can see that. And I actually upgraded these components and this as well. I think actually I put these two T-cons in. So let's just do this too. Take those out. This is what I did. So originally when my reactor it was like this. It was outputting 4.86. And it had some other poopy components too, so I think it was actually a little bit lower than that. But I went ahead and filled in this slot, which made a huge boost right there. And I also filled in these. One more. Like that. And got a very nice 189% boost. 5.67 kilowatts now. Almost a full kilowatt up. So, yeah. That's 188. That's actually what it was. But we like better shit. 189. I like that. 5.67. Major slot. Awesome. So there you go. And that is basically our reactor almost pretty much fully upgraded, right? Now, if we wanted to, these are pretty crappy. These are +6 emissions, +7% efficiency, and +3 power. These are, what are these? +6% efficiency, +6 power, though. But also just plus a ton more emissions, right? So just maybe not as good of components in general. These are much nicer. These connects components tend to be some of the cheaper and shittier components overall. In fact, it makes me kind of want to just swap that out right away, right? Go to 190% efficiency and get that 5.7. So there we go, guys. That is upgrading the generator. Now, I think to end this video, maybe we can. Yeah, I can't connect that. That'd be stupid. While we're all docked up, I think the last thing I'll show you guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I think it would be useful to look at. Now, the Helm Computer, well, maybe just because. Now, the Helm Computer, it's drawing 3.8, it's emitting 2.52, it's at 130% efficient. I believe what this does is actually just lowers, if we upgrade this with some nice hap nodes, what does this do? It improves the draw. Actually, does it actually increase the draw right there? Did it increase the draw? No, 0.38. Yeah. 0.38, 0.4, yeah. It does actually increase the draw, but if I remember correctly, it just operates better. It's faster, and that kind of stuff, and the failure rate is lower because it has redundancies. You know, obviously this being the most expensive thing, this is our microcomputer. In fact, because this is a crappy one, I'm just going to replace that real quickly. There we go. Excellent. So there's different components there. That's not really what I wanted to show you guys. I think we're actually pretty much good. That's pretty much everything. I'm trying to think if the jump drive has anything. Yeah, the jump drive has. You can improve the efficiency of this significantly. The spin up time specifically. If you fill out all these components, this thing will hog less power and it'll spin up significantly faster. Actually, this is one of the things I really want to upgrade. In the future, I'm looking at the engine too. Yeah, pretty much this. Oh yeah, this is another different kind of a part you can buy as well. What does it say right there? Yeah, burner slot, stuff like that. So we can do some upgrades to our actual engine, all this kind of good stuff. Anyway, but I think, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Pretty much covers the basics of upgrading, but you guys get the idea, right? More components. There's a lot of empty component slots when you first buy this stuff, right? A lot of empty module slots in your ship, and a lot of empty component slots in your actual modules themselves, and you can make them better just by buying parts. And I always like to have some spare parts around. I think it's really smart, especially hap nodes. They tend to go out. Your components, when you buy them, tend to come with the crappiest hap nodes known to man. So I like to carry a couple extras around just in case. They've got some more of these guys. I like the T connectors. They're really nice. They do a ton of different good stuff. But you can see here are the short buffers I was talking about earlier. We've got the microcomputers. But anyway, like, it's really smart, guys. I'm telling you right now, it's very smart to carry around extra parts. Always. Always carry around extra parts. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm going to go ahead and just buy a few just while we're sitting here. Just because, I just need it. I need them. I always need them. Always need them. I'm going to buy more. Beautiful. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys are learning a lot. I hope I can teach you a little bit about this game. It's, like I said, it's super deep, it's super complex, and they don't tell you any of this. You know, most of what you guys are seeing here, I've just learned on my own. I've just kind of experimented, I've played with the game, but hopefully that'll save you guys a little bit of time when you're doing it yourself. This is another place, too, where you can see all the different components. And now, this is actually a pretty cool thing, too, and we'll go over this when I do a thing on stealth. Because this is where you can really set some other cool stuff about your ship. So anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are learning a lot. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. I'm having a ton of fun, teaching and just, experimenting and just learning more about the game myself. So if you guys have been enjoying this, if you learned something, if you find these things useful, like, comment, subscribe if you guys are really enjoying all the content. I do have a Let's Try series. We'll link it in the comment section below. So definitely check that out if you guys want to learn more about the game before you buy it. But it is fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. It's super addicting. It's like a super cool little like nerdo simulator game, but I can't recommend it enough. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.